Is this really the most interesting thing on the radio right now?
Not anymore.
What's happening?
FM Punk, that's what's happening.
Who are you exactly?
I'm Riley Hogan, the host of FM Punk.
Riley Hogan?
I'm too anti-conformist for a cool DJ name. Tune in to FM Punk for blistering punk rock fury. Everything from Ramones to Gorilla Biscuits to Moss Icon to Nails. I play whatever I want. So whether you're into grindcore or old school emo, there's something here for you.
That's cool and all, but what are you doing in my car?
What aren't I doing in your car?
Stop that!
FM Punk, Thursday nights at 11 on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hey, have you seen DJ Solero?
No, why?
Well, he was supposed to be here right now to tell everyone about his show, The Rare Groove Session, but I can't find him anywhere.
I'll keep my eyes peeled. Maybe he went to get something to eat.
Food? He went to get food? I mean, who can eat at a time like this?
Relax. I'm sure everyone will figure out when they can listen to the most incredible music from the 60s and 70s that they may have not heard before.
But what if they can't? What if they never figure out when the Rare Groove Session is on? What happens then, huh? I don't want to live in a world where no one knows about the Rare Groove Session.
Hey guys, ready to tell everyone about RGS?
DJ Solero, where the have you been?
I was getting something to eat.
How can you eat at a time like this?
What are you talking about?
Don't mind her. Go ahead. Tell everyone when to listen.
Okay then. If you're looking to hear some mind-blowing music, check out the Rare Groove Session Friday nights at midnight on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Yeah, you can check out the Rare Groove Sessions, or you can check out the rock that we're playing here today, because we're rocking with Jimmy from Freeport Auto Wrecking.
I got mother.
And Operation Splash.
Let's go for it.
Freeport's native son. So we are back. Let's get back into it. And Jimmy, tell us where we left off. How? What's your credential? I mean, I know that you have a credential going from way back. So
how did you go from like junking cars to being an environmentalist?
Well, I graduated high school in 1969.
Okay.
And that era was the Jacques Cousteau era. So, I mean, in 10th grade, I found out that I didn't have 20/20 vision and I had to wear glasses. So, being an astronaut or a jet pilot or something like that was out. I didn't know all of these things were already out before they were already written into the mix, because I probably could have never done the math and everything that went along with these jobs. But I was fascinated with the water, and I wanted to get into scuba diving, and I learned how to scuba dive, and I went to school for oceanography. It lasted about a semester. My excuse was that I hit a tree that ran out in the middle of the road, broke my leg, was going to go back in 6 months, never did. Waited a year, still didn't, started working. Then, my father did body work. I started doing body work, and before you know it, I was making money, and I put it off.
Once you start making the money,
40-something years later, I get introduced to 30-something years later, I get introduced to Splash. I knew about it. I didn't want to go because I didn't want to get distracted, and I did go, and I did get distracted. And I found myself,
That's how you got here, Joe.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that's how I got here.
Dangle something shiny in front of you.
To everybody listening, that life is cycles. Sometimes long cycles are good, sometimes long cycles are bad. That was a long cycle for me, but when I got back into it, I knew that I had been barking up the wrong tree all of that time and got totally distracted. So
that's good.
That was my jaunt in. I went to Florida Institute of Technology. It was a pretty fresh school at the time. It was one of the few that had an oceanography program. I was immediately depressed because we were taking classes I didn't even know what the name of the class meant. Numerical methods, physics, chemistry, all at once. You always have that one subject in school that is like, I hope I can make it through this one. I can make it through. Now I had 4 or 5.
Then they barrage you,
And you wanted advanced
And then
ecology.
I found out we weren't even going to call water. It was going to be called H2O until my 4th year, and it was like, wow. And then I met up with some locals down there, and we got to dive into inland springs and stuff all over the place, and it was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, I had a computer class that they were teaching us Fortran language.
Oh, Fortran, yeah.
Fortran. You got to take 50 cards and punch all of these holes into them and put them in there, and you can add 2 and 2 and divide it by 1 and come up with something. And it was like, oh, my God, this is boring as hell. So, personally, when it came back to going back to school, I says, you know what, I don't think I could have made it anyway. Not that part of it. And then I found another way. And then when I got involved in Splash, thank God for computers and not punch cards. Right. Talk about another evolution. I was able to educate myself through them, and then through following people whenever they showed up, places like Professor Larry Swanson at Stony Brook and Malcolm Bowman, who's an oceanographer, and kind of like shadowing them everywhere and then getting to speak to them. And then before you know it, like 5 years later, they were asking me to lecture at their students.
Well, what does that tell you? They must have appreciated your
tells you that,
your take on that.
They
were really desperate.
They were really desperate, or they needed to kick up the curriculum and catch somebody's attention. So, but you know what? It's been a really great ride. My accountant was right. I took too much time away from my business. Sandy practically destroyed us.
Yeah, you guys had what, 4 or 5 feet of water? The marks are still in your shop.
It was a disaster, and I'm pretty good at calculating the next move, and decent at chess. But I was so happy when that water receded, and we didn't even get a second high tide, that I didn't pay much attention to the ripple effect. And the ripple effect was that all my customers got brand new cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now brand new or leases. So that put them, we were dead air for 10 months. And I was realizing this is going to be really bad. Now you got 3 years there before they get off a lease. The cars now are just 3 years old. That's not my demography for used parts. It's not even well defined at that point.
Seriously.
It's 7 to 10 years old. That's really your marketplace, where you can afford to buy the salvage, and you got enough of those cars out there that are defined that your computer tells you what you should be taking and not taking. You buy a brand new car, you don't know if that's going to be one of those Datsun 200 SX motors that you want to make generators out of because you can't blow them up.
Yeah.
So we're on a wing and a prayer. It's really, really hard to keep a junkyard open with the cost of the footprint today.
Right.
And you have a lot. How many acres do you have?
That's some prime acreage.
Everybody says how many acres you have. Actually, we don't even have an acre.
It's not even an acre?
No, because there's so many levels.
Well, Jimmy, you do go.
It's so complicated. There's so many paths and trails and decks and whatever. And
do you do an internet business? Do you do an online business at all?
I've dabbled with it a little bit, but we didn't, because it turned out that everything that somebody wants is what somebody comes up to my door with, and I don't really feel that I want to peddle something off and go through all the problems online when somebody doesn't actually know exactly what they want to start off.
Oh, God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not that. It's, interchange is very critical, and people swear they're telling you everything, and they don't even have the right model.
They don't know. They don't know what they don't know.
And it's like I got people coming to my door asking for that stuff. I'm not going to turn away my neighbors. But
that's true.
There's a lot of excuses, but things have changed. Bottom line is backup cameras, lane shifting cameras, auto braking. We thought ABS was a big thing. It was going to stop accidents. And now cars are going to be driving themselves. So the writing is on the wall. Yeah. We're struggling. But yet the yard is just such a... I don't know. It's just such a draw for people to come in because of all the stuff that we have.
It's so cool. I was only there once for a while.
And I'm sitting there this last year, and I says, you know what? I don't know if we're going to make another season. Now, the yard's well over 75 years old. I feel like I've been there most of that time, but I have been there 35 years already.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And
that went quick, huh?
Once you go into business for yourself, you're doomed. It's very hard to go to work for somebody. So
absolutely.
That happened to me.
Extremely hard.
Age.
Yes.
So
I think maybe teaching should be in your future.
Sure.
Education.
So it's kind of scary, and I'm looking out where my office is. The whole place is developed, and I'm still in that little crappy hole in the back.
And the
over
thing
there.
that you showed me, which is
habit.
But the funny thing you showed me a couple of weeks ago was there's grass growing now in the junkyard.
Oh yeah,
right.
I don't know what's going on, but we're doing something right. It took 35 years on my way. I think somewhere along the line that the place is haunted, and I think it knows that I might be on my way out, and the grass is saying, taking over. We're getting a little
Jimmy
light
walks
there.
me to the western corner and says, "I want you to see something." I'm like, "Okay,
how does that grass look, right? It's real
I
grass.
think
That's
it's
not
like
weeds.
a cool car or something." I'm looking up, and he's like, "Look down here." I'm like, "Huh?" Oh, great.
And then
Oh, grass.
And then I started walking around and I see patches of it coming up all over the place. I go, well,
Yeah.
oh my God, maybe that's it. Maybe that's my environmental award, getting to grow grass. In the
Maybe
junkyard
Sandy
that's been a
washed
junkyard.
in something that took 5 years to really take
Well,
root.
you're always saying about nature coming back there.
Yeah,
That-
well,
that's
you
a-
know what? It might be we changed the dog food. That might have something to do with it.
That could be.
Well, as long as it wasn't the guy's lunch.
But it
Yeah,
just goes to show you, as you get older, listeners out there, it doesn't take a whole lot to impress somebody once you get older.
That's right.
Yeah,
I was
see,
impressed with the grass in the
Right.
yard.
Yeah, in a place like that, you would think like nothing could live.
But I'm sitting
You know
at
what I
my
mean?
desk, the garage door's open, and I'm looking at all the tchotchkes hanging up all over the place and going, what are you, an idiot? You're like a fish in a fishbowl. This is what everybody comes in here for. Every other person is coming in. Can I look around? Can I photograph? Can we do a photo shoot here? Two guys walked up with easels. They said, can we do
Wow.
paint? And I'm going, I'm missing the boat. Why don't I just do parties here
didn't you
and
have
let the
the-
yard go
Seriously.
stand?
Just before we get into that, didn't the American Pickers guys come down at one point a few years ago?
No, when Forge and Fire was there, 24 hours later, I guess one of the 40 people that were part of the staff over there must have dropped a dime. And I got a call the next day from American Pickers. And they wanted me to go through all of the containers with the wide-angle lanes and just take pictures of everything everywhere. And I go, yeah. And they said, well, it's kind of a little late. You're not going to be in your area for a while. I says, okay, well, call me when you come back. And I never did.
Okay.
I know they would like that Pickers sign that I have there, that neon grocery store.
Right. Well, Pickers was in Limerick. Pickers Pharmacy was on Atlantic Avenue in Limerick. That's where I got all my stuff when I was a kid.
Maybe it's Pickers Pharmacy. Was it a yellow
I
neon?
think so. I'm picturing the black and white, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a
you
long
were
time
walking
ago.
around with shades and ponytails.
Yeah, what did I-
then. What the
you're
hell
right.
Would you know what color?
You're absolutely right. That's when my hair was long and my thoughts were short.
So back to that caller about the inlet. Yeah, we want more inlets. I just put in a proposal to the Army Corps of Engineers. They're talking about putting massive dikes and they're putting spits out on the Jones Beach, and I'm not so sure about that stuff. But those
We do this, yeah.
But bottom line is, I'd like to put in tidal flushing tubes that we have some kind of control over to be able to flush the bay and maybe use that for a little flood mitigation.
Interesting.
But you got to be willing to take these ideas, if they're even floatable. You got to give them to a politician or somebody that can get a trophy for it, and then you get it done. If you want a trophy, forget about it. It ain't going to happen. You got to be willing to just be happy that it gets done.
That's the bottom line.
Because
You're working,
politics is the biggest stumbling block of really getting anything done when it comes to the environment.
Ask Donald Trump. He'll tell you about that.
Yeah, he might be advantageous. They think he's turning the world upside down, but you know what? I think since everything we're doing is not working anyway, turning it upside down, shaking it out,
the world
putting it
may
on a
need
curb.
some turning upside down. Yeah,
we do need some turning.
It's like you grab your kid once in a while, and it's good to turn them and just shake them by.
I
the
don't know
ankles.
how it can get worse. I don't know how we can be any
right.
more ignorant than we are now,
Right.
and set in our ways.
It's incredible how, I mean, let's face it, a lot of the stuff that you would say that you want to do, most people would be like, the who? Oh, let me go back to playing.
John Entwistle?
Yeah. The what? Guess who?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a good comic strip.
You know, you have to have the guts to make a decision, and then and reap the consequences, good or bad.
And not always
better
get-
to make a decision than not make a decision.
And then always and not necessarily get the little pat in the head from whoever in the form of either a pat in the head or elected or whatever. So, but sometimes you just got to know you're doing the right thing just for the sake
I have to
of
be
doing the
very,
right
very
thing.
careful, because when I'm talking about the environment, I don't want anything to get in the way, and all I have to do is be politically incorrect, and then all of a sudden everything I say is black instead of white, or vice versa.
Right.
But when it comes to nature, there's no boundaries. Okay, we all reap the rewards of anything that is good, and we suffer from everything that we let go and is bad.
I'll say this, though, Jim, good, bad, or indifferent. I think the thing that comes through all the time when you talk about these subjects is your passion and your true desire to make things better comes
you
through.
ain't joking, that's for sure.
Whether someone likes what they're hearing or not, I think that always comes through. So, and that's pretty much a defining factor.
And you know what the heck you're talking about.
Well, that too.
My
Even if-
conversations are less complicated with those analogies, and when I'm allowed to curse, I save whole sentences, so I can really say a whole lot more in a lot less time.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Well, that's one of the things about radio.
Right.
It encourages language creativity.
Yes, telephonic handcuffery.
Yes.
If you will.
And if you make it overly complicated, you can get away with anything, because nobody knows what you're talking about.
Right.
Yourself.